It's so official. The waiting room is back, y'all. And I am so excited. It is your girl, Just Jess from Creative Atelier. And today we are celebrating reinvention with no one other than Jasmine Escalera herself, the queen of reinvention. We are bringing that bold energy that y'all love so much, and we are talking career glow ups, brand power moves, and all the things that you need to level up that life. Yes, honey. Get ready to own your future, because today it's all about making moves, claiming that success, and doing it big. I'm a fool. So let's get into it and start the party. And welcome to the waiting room. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the waiting room. I am your host, Just Jess. Thank you very much. And today, friends, is an episode that is unlike any other. Yes. This is for the go-getters, the trailblazers, the I'm not taking no for an answer collective people. Aha. And what better way to honor this episode by entitling it Unconventional Hustle, breaking through boundaries and building that badass business. And today, to tell us the who, what, where, when, and how the hell do we get there is the one and only Jasmine Escalera. She is an award-winning career coach and a empowerment enthusiast and strategist for women in the BIPOC community to teach them to not only pop out to be their best selves, but to also be their best support and ally. She is undeniable, undisputed, and unapologetically the queen of reinvention. Jasmine, welcome to the waiting room.
Oh my gosh. I freaking love that. Can you just announce me at all times to all events?
It'll be my pleasure.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Yes,
I am so excited to join you today. I am just so thrilled. I rarely get the opportunity to really dive into the business side of things. You know, people always kind of come to me and ask about confidence and empowerment and reinvention and careers. So I'm really jumping out of my skin to have the opportunity to talk to you today.
Yes. I think that feeling is around the table today. I'm just gonna jump back to when we first met.
Oh my gosh. Way back into time.
Don't date me. Y'all don't ask how old I am. It's rude. But that was
nobody should ever ask how old I am. I've been much more comfortable with telling people my age. And the reason why is because I'm like, I'm 42 and I earned all 42 of them years. So please put respect on my name and my age.
Absolutely. Well, this is kind of surreal for me. It's myself meeting my better self all over again. All those years ago when we were first introduced, I was very much so in the infancy of what Jess is, who Jess is, and what I wanted for myself. And all those pearls of wisdom that you drowned me in that day brought us to this moment today where I can confidently say, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm doing. And not only for myself, but to help those that are coming along behind me. So all of your efforts are not in vain. I don't know if you get thank you notes or people kind of hack your DM and say you're amazing, but truly this is just kind of like meeting one of my heroes.
You're gonna make me tear up because I have to admit, and because we're talking about business, this is all gonna come out, and there might be moments where I really do get extremely emotional because no one told me how hard this journey of business was going to be. You go online, you see on Instagram, you see on LinkedIn the 100K months, and everybody looks like they're smashing it and slaying it. And it's really challenging, very challenging to do this. So, what keeps me going is this concept in my mind that I'm helping someone, right? Like I really truly want to help people recognize the power that they have within themselves
Oh,
and be
absolutely.
just a blip in their journey. So to hear you say that really helps me to keep going because it's still a very challenging road to walk.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the journey. It's the
Yeah.
journey. And the one takeaway that was front of mind for me in our last meeting all those years ago was impactful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Thriving in impactful thinking. I
Mm-hmm.
understood that the assignment wasn't about how can I just do this for me, but how can I impact my community? How can
Mm-hmm.
I impact my business in such a way to help others and myself in the community? And what thumbprint am I willing to leave behind to make sure that those who come after me don't have it as hard as we do? So
Yeah,
from that,
absolutely.
Creative Atelier of Just Jess in the waiting room was reborn with that ethos in mind. And you are
Yeah.
here to spill the tea, to
All
help
of
me
it.
tell these stories, to give people
All of it. Yeah.
something tangible to walk away with so they can say, you know what? I thought it was too much. I thought I was being extra, but no, I can do this. I can wear that red lipstick. I can have that clothing design business. I can be a career coach. I can, if need
Yeah.
be, apply for that position in corporate America where I'm in a role of leadership and not be embarrassed about my color, the way I speak, my ethnicity. So, yes, this is what we're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, and I love that. And one of the core things that I teach the women in my community in the Courage Crew, one of the first foundational things is reinvention or whatever it is that you're doing in your life. If you just purely make it about you, then it's going to be much harder for you to see it through.
No
When
doubt.
we create whys that are bigger than ourselves,
Yes.
about our community, about our impact, about our legacy, when those times get hard and the challenges come, we're much more likely to stick with it than
Yeah,
if it was just about us. So I love
absolutely.
that in this next chapter, you're really thinking about you as the empowered individual empowering
Yes.
others because
I'm
that just
holding
means that the
myself
impact is amazing.
I'm holding myself ransom and 1000% accountable. So
Well, no, you're not. It's not. You're not yourself. Now it's me, and it's all the people that are listening to you. Like the
yes,
accountability changes when you put yourself on a platform like this. Now people are
yes,
waiting for you to show up and hear your testimonies. So we're
yes,
all holding you accountable now in a loving and compassionate way because we know you can do it.
yes, we can, and we will.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So I'm here to get up all in your business so we can kind of discuss collectively not only our whys, but the strategy that got us here. So just really quickly, give us kind of like, take yourself way, way back in time, like not 1982, but, but way back in
The
time.
year Well,
Where
it
you,
all began in Coney
where,
Island
where it
Hospital
all
in Brooklyn,
began.
New York.
Yeah, I was a wee lad.
Yeah.
But when you first that aha moment where you first
Mhm.
realize that, this is the box and this
Yeah.
is what everyone is telling me I should do. But this
Yeah.
is what the calling is and what it is that I have to do. What did that look like for you?
Well, I think that for me, those two things were actually separate.
Hmm.
So, I I remember the moment in my life where all of the constructs that people taught me about life just completely started to crumble right before
Yeah.
my eyes. And I started to realize that everything that I learned up until that point about managing a career, about living in the world, about being a woman were all lies.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment where I was in a toxic workplace and I was
Mm.
feeling miserable. And I was taught that if I got a good job and got good pay and a 401k, I was going to be set for life. And I
Right.
felt like I didn't even want to live another day. It was when, at the same time, my marriage was crumbling before me. When I was told that, if you get married and you have stability and there's a partner and a man, you're going to feel taken care of. And there were so many things that were just happening around me where I was just kind of like, wow, everything that I was taught, the road, the path that I walked.
Yeah.
It was just all like a blueprint that I followed. And I never even took a moment to ask myself, is this how I even want to live? And
Right.
so I didn't know what I wanted to do or my calling or my purpose, which I feel I understand now. I didn't know it at that time. It was almost just kind of like I had a feeling within me that the constructs that I were given to what would make the best life were false. And I
Yeah.
had started to have this bubbling inside me of, well, if this isn't it, then what could it be?
What could it
And
be?
so
Absolutely.
yeah, it took years for me to really work through that, because I think when the unveiling happens of like, wow, this isn't even real.
Yeah.
That's like a shock to the system because it's almost kind of like going back to childhood where you feel like, okay, well, now I have to learn everything over
Everything.
again,
Yeah.
but there's no teachers, right?
Yeah.
Because when you were a kid, you learned from your parents, you learned from
Yeah.
actual teachers, you learned from your community, and you soaked it all in as a sponge. But now
Yeah.
here you are like, wow, I have to learn what this thing called life is. And you have to do it on your own. And I think that's why a lot of people don't take that leap to then say, well, how do I really want to live? Because
It's
it's
fear.
scary to try to, it's scary to try to figure this out. So the two things of the awakening of like, ooh, what this isn't it, and how what I'm doing now, which I feel is my purpose, didn't happen simultaneously, but I
Yeah.
had to be bold enough, courageous enough, confident enough to just say to myself, okay, if this isn't it, I am going to take at least a step towards trying to figure this out.
Absolutely. Similarly enough, we kind of have similar stories in sharing those same ideas that society just wanted to imprint on us to say that this is exactly who you need to be to succeed. And much like yourself, internally there was this struggle. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do when everyone's telling me to do, but it just doesn't feel right because I'm not achieving. I'm not succeeding. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just on this proverbial merry-go-round, just spinning my wheels. And to your point, I'm miserable. I'm miserable. So what do I do? But then at the same time, there is this air of a trust fall. We're going to throw away the naysayers. We're going to throw away all the opinions and the strategies that the world has set before me. And I'm going to trust fall with myself to say, okay, if I have to do this alone, one, I understand that I can only rely on me because there's no one there. So do I trust myself enough to say that I am going to be my own support and get through this, and then try to literally map out piece by piece
Yeah.
what that looks
Yeah.
like to preserve
Yeah.
my state of mind. So oftentimes
Absolutely.
people see me and they say, oh, well, just the reason why people don't understand it is because you make it look easy or you make it look good. And I kind of wanted to shake off that narrative today and kind of give our listeners practical steps that they can take to get there without feeling overwhelmed, without feeling like they can't achieve it. And to your point, it ain't going to happen tomorrow, but you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. And you hit upon something so beautiful, which is I think many of us have this calling of there's got to be more or this isn't really the path.
Yeah.
And it is that trust in that internal voice, right? That it is that idea that I'm going to lean into this internal voice and I'm going to lean into this feeling. And I'm going to, like you said, trust myself enough to just go out there and try to figure it out, right? So there is trust in self is a huge part of this equation, and trust in self is a challenging thing. I don't think that I for sure did not trust myself enough early on in my career because I followed the blueprint that everyone else gave me. So there wasn't that trust in self. I had to build that.
Yes. Yeah. And it takes time. It takes
It does.
time. There's no such thing as perfect, But however, I do believe there is an idea of creating the life that you want to have without
Mhm.
compromise of self. And when I
Oh
say
yeah.
compromise of self, no longer do I not want to exercise my right to breathe in my own freedom because I'm bringing value to other spaces, but by the end of the day, I have no energy to pour back into me. And
Hmm.
that moment for me was also a shared moment with America when COVID happened and the whole
Hmm.
world changed and flipped upside down. And you fast forward 5 years later, people are starting to retreat to go back to finite thinking. And I was one of those very few that's like, oh no, you're not dragging me back in that box. Like, never again.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I think many of us needed that security and safety of going back into that space. And
Yes,
then there were many of us that were just like, oh, absolutely not. Like, I think COVID showed us we could live different, we could work different, we can do different things,
absolutely.
we could monetize our personal brands in different ways, we could monetize our skill sets in different ways. So I think
Yes.
that was one of the spaces or one of the times that cracked a lot of people open and unveiled a lot of things for us. So yeah, that
Yeah.
definitely was a moment that changed a lot of people's lives, especially a lot of business owners.
Lots of turtles coming out of their shells, and proudly enough, women of color who aren't hiding anymore,
Mhm.
who aren't taking
Absolutely.
the back seat, no pun intended, but
Yeah.
not taking a back seat to themselves. Mothers who are just like, you know what, I'm a mom, but that's not all I am. I'm a wife, but that's not all I am. So we're going to get into it and drop some gems on them today.
Yes, let's do it.
I'm pulling up some questions here so we can just kind of give a round table discussion, because there's no red table here, but a round table discussion about how people can take some of these things that we're discussing today and jot some notes down and kind of do not necessarily a comparison, but kind of a cheat sheet on where
Mhm.
to start. And obviously, in the most unconventional ways, because we are throwing out that blueprint that we're speaking of.
Yes,
Following the
absolutely.
antiquated rules of thinking do not apply in the waiting room, y'all. So, friends, let's get into it. So, Jasmine, you're in the hot seat. What do you think is the most unconventional advice that you would give to someone who is just starting out? They've just had their aha moment. What is the next step?
I think the next, it's not necessarily a step, but the piece of advice that I wish that someone had told me is that just because you decide to live life on your terms and to really follow that internal voice doesn't necessarily mean that everything's going to unveil in front of you and it's going to be easier.
Ooh,
Actually, the road to live an unconventional life, have an unconventional business, to follow your internal voice means that you are actually on the path to healing, and you are going to be digging up a lot of things
yeah.
because in order to be unconventional, you have to break the conventional mindsets. And so,
Mm,
whatever your conventional mindsets are, that are almost kind of like the patterns in programming running in your mind, you have to
yeah.
deconstruct that. And so, that deconstruction process comes with a lot of looking at the dark pieces of
Yeah.
yourself, looking at the
Facing the ugly.
background, looking at the story. Yeah, really changing the narrative for yourself. So just because you decide to put the stick in the sand and say, you know what, I'm going to create life on my terms, doesn't mean that it's all going to unfold. You are really going to have to you're going to have to undergo a healing journey. And no one really told me that. I kind of thought like, oh, I'm just going to, I'm going to start living happy. So everything is going to be roses and sunshine.
Yeah.
I've gone through a lot of dark moments that I know that if I had stayed on the conventional path, I would have never, ever gone through the transformations that I've gone through because I wouldn't have been triggered to.
Yeah.
So I would have never looked at these parts. So I think the conventional path sometimes can be the veil. And that unconventional path is when you take the veil off and you really start to see. But you're not just looking forward, you also have to look backwards.
You have to
And
look
that
back.
backwards
Yeah. You
looking,
have to
that's
understand.
the hard part.
You have
Yeah.
to understand where you're coming from to figure out where you're going. So that in itself, I too wish someone had told me. Secondary to that, for myself, it was understanding that I didn't need permission to do this on my own. We are taught, even as kids, if you have a question, ask, people are going to be there for you, or, they always put us in groups of collaboration, even in school, caring is sharing and things like that. And then as an adult, you find that the world isn't so nice. Everyone is not giving of their time and their knowledge. Not everyone is going to invest in you. Not everyone is going to be for you. And sometimes there are instances where there are people who may profess to be for you, but in the background may not really be for you and may be self-sabotaging you in some sort of weird way. So I wish someone told me not only trust yourself, but be your ally. When there is no one else in the room to speak up for you, when there is no one else to help you, prepare yourself to obtain the knowledge to do things on your own. And it doesn't mean that you can't trust anyone, and it doesn't mean that you can't get good help, when asked and offered. But you have to be able to support yourself and be your ally without needing permission. Hey, mom, is it okay if I do this? Hey, friend, is it okay if we do this together? You have to be willing to say, when the world tells me no, I'm not going to stop and say, well, okay, well, I'll just wait till a better time when everyone's available. No, you can keep going and find your own knowledge and learn things yourself to try to figure it out. And that's okay. That's
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Yeah. Be your biggest advocate for sure.
Yes, yes. Friend, your friend is your friend, and oftentimes the first friend is you. So,
Yeah.
I learned that daily. So, can you just share a moment where you had to completely just pivot your business and your ideas when you had that awakening, you had your healing, this ball is rolling, you're looking good, you're feeling good, you think that you're right where you want to be, and the world says, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Jasmine, you're too great now.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like in my business, I've had a lot of those moments, but just recently I had one of the biggest ones, where I
Oh,
decided to like completely pivot my business. So
uh-huh.
I was a career coach, primarily just doing career coaching. Then I stepped into the job search space,
Yeah,
for quite a few years. And now, it took me a moment to really realize, I guess, to really dig into who I was now. I established my business when I was in my career and when I was so deep in it and entrenched in it. And I was going through the situations that I was going through. And I was like, I never want another woman to go through this again.
yeah,
And after having been out of the career space for quite a few years, I transformed into a completely different person. I transformed into someone who was so almost kind of like separate from the career space. And so I had to transition my business into something that was being much more heart aligned, much more aligned with who I am. And that's really how the reinvention coaching became birthed, was that I asked myself, well, who is Jasmine? And I realized that Jasmine is the woman who is not afraid to, transform her life, who is not afraid to just pick up and go if I'm called to, who is not afraid to look at the dark spaces, who is not afraid to really reinvent. And so that's really where, reinvention coaching and the Courage Crew came from, was realizing that I am transforming, I am growing, I am developing, and this major part of my life, which is my business, needs to
yeah.
grow, transform, and develop as well. It can't stay the same, because that wouldn't be authentic to who I am at my core, which is
Mm.
a transformational being.
Yeah, I made a colossal mistake in
Mm-hmm.
taking the idiom. How does it go? You can have it all. And in doing so, or in thinking that way, it wasn't necessarily the having it all part. It was how I was doing it. I
Yeah.
was the single mom, the co-worker, the employee, and the new business owner all at the same time, bidding for
Yeah.
time in all of these
Yeah.
areas, trying to launch, the part of me that really wants to take this leap and do Just Jess and do Creative Atelier in ways that matter to me and change the world. But I also had all of these responsibilities and obligations that were pulling from my time, pulling from my
Mm-hmm.
access, pulling from, my brain space to be able to do Just Jess of Creative Atelier effectively. And I made a colossal mistake on my part in trying to marry those worlds instead of keep them
Yeah.
separate. I went on these
Yeah.
campaigns of coining myself a design admin alchemist, working with employers and doing contractual work where my executive assistant and admin prowess was needed over here, needed over there, but at night, burning the midnight oil to do graphic design and social media content creation for clients who were otherwise not corporate. And then there was my motherhood that was in the middle, that was the chef, the doctor, the nurse, and
Mm-hmm.
all these other things that I had to be for my little one. And I hit a wall. And there was such
Yeah.
an intense burnout where I
Yeah.
had to take a beat and say, having it all is not, it's not what it's cracked up to be. Like, how
Definitely not.
right? How are women that you see kind of like a flash in the pan? You go online and you see all of these fabulous lives, and they have all of these titles and all of these, accolades to their name. How are they succeeding at this? And what am I doing wrong? And what I
Yeah.
found that the problem was, I wanted the two to live in the same world, and that's not possible. So I really had to learn to let go. I had
Yeah.
to learn to
Absolutely.
let go in order to breathe in my freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually I don't subscribe to that thought process that you can have it all. I subscribe to the thought process of you should strive to have all the things you want in a lifetime.
Right.
In your lifetime, not at the same time. I actually believe in seasons where it's like, what season of life is Jasmine in right now, and what does she want to focus on in this moment? And
Yeah.
and being okay with allowing that to be okay, and and also allowing myself to change seasons however rapidly I want to, or to be in a specific season for however long I want to.
Yeah.
And so this recently became a thing for me where I've been single for probably about 4-ish years now, by
Oh, I don't even
choice.
want to talk about
By
it.
choice, single by choice. But recently I was like, well, shouldn't I want to date? Like, shouldn't, I was shooting myself without even realizing I was doing that. And a lot of people were kind of, the first question that they would ask me was like, how's it going dating? What's the dating scene like? Have you been dating anyone? So I started to feel like, I guess I should be doing this.
The
And
pressure.
yeah, and even me as a very, like, as a very mindful person, a very thoughtful person. And I started to, go out on the dating scene, and I wasn't in it for very long for a variety of different reasons, but it really made me realize that I am in the season of life where I want to focus on the work that I'm doing, and I don't
Mm,
want that to be an issue for myself or for anyone.
yeah.
I believe that I will have all of the things that I desire in this lifetime, but
Yes.
they don't have to all happen at the same
At the
time.
same
And in
time.
fact, yeah, and in fact, it wouldn't work well that way, right? Like,
No.
I want to focus on the area, the season, life that I'm in, and enjoy it to the fullest, to the point that I get to the place where I say, well, you know what? I want to be in a different season now. Like, that's how I know that I've lived the season that I intend to be in to its fullest. When I finally transition and say, okay, that season is done. Now, what's next for me? Instead of being
Absolutely.
pushed to say I should want all of these things, or I should need all of these things. And I think, especially for women, we've been taught to be some kind of superhuman, superhero, superwoman. And
Talk
it's like,
about it, friend.
nah. No, no,
Just
no,
because I
no,
can doesn't mean
no.
that I should. So,
But we
just,
can't. And I
yeah,
think that we have to own that we are just humans. We can't.
human.
I
Yeah.
don't, and I want everybody to understand that. Like, you don't have to. And that's important. Like, give
Hmm.
yourself permission to say, I can't do it all. It's not
Yeah.
possible for you. We
Hmm.
only have a
Or
certain
just
amount
flat
of
out
hours in a
no.
day.
Or just flat out no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. And not
Exactly.
feel
No,
that,
I'm
that
not doing
weight
it.
of guilt that some women experience that come along with honoring your boundary of no. The
Yeah.
waiting room, I call it the window of meanwhile for a reason, because what you're describing is the living moment by moment. And after this transition for myself, those who knew me way back when I was trying to be all things and everything and all everywhere at once, they don't recognize me anymore because it's just like, wait a minute, like, let's just take this moment and maximize this moment where we are. I don't want to think
Absolutely.
about 10 years from now. I don't want to think about, later on. I just want what's right in front of me in this moment. And then we can just take life one bite at a time. And in that,
I think, yeah.
the job interviews that you have, what's one of the main questions that they ask you? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What do you see yourself in 10 years? And it's laughable now. And it's just like, 10
I,
years?
I, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 days. Like,
Yeah, I
honestly,
don't even know what I'm eating for dinner tonight. Like, who the hell cares? What I want to focus on is the right now because one, tomorrow isn't promised. And two, we can't control what won't. The next
yeah,
minute, all chaos can break loose. There's nothing I can do about it besides control my reaction to it. So, 10 years, yeah, it's laughable. It's laughable.
yeah. Yeah, and I do think there is this beautiful I'm kind of the person that believes in the duality effect where I
Ooh,
can be in the present moment and not be planning for the future, but also
mm,
have a future vision, right? So I have a vision for what I want my life to be in a
mm,
few years. And of course, I'm pathing towards that vision and I visualize that all the time as a motivator for myself. But I
yeah,
also don't need it to show up in that way. It can show up in whatever way it needs to. And I'm in the
right.
moment of today, knowing that I'm pathing towards my vision. So you don't have to be living for the future and you don't have to be so in the present that you're just like, whatever, I don't care, whatever happens, happens. You
Mm,
can really have a vision set for yourself, but know that the path to get there can happen in a million different ways. And in fact, if we are the ones who try to think about the path, then we are blocking the universe or God, whomever you believe in, to
yes,
present it to you in the most beautiful fashion imaginable. And you're
yes,
probably missing a lot of things. So I think it's really important to kind of think about that duality of I have a feeling for a vision of my life, but I also want to own that I'm in this space now. And I'm going to accept the space that I'm in, knowing that I'm tracking towards where I'm going.
yeah, and allow opportunity for things to happen organically. Because one thing
Absolutely.
that I really have to, I got to talk to my viewers here. Like, y'all hear me. If you don't walk away with anything else, it is my heart's desire that you understand this. If you have to force it, then it's not meant to be. If you
Yeah.
literally have to force opportunity and there's so much adversity in doing it, then you are pushing yourself down a path to disrupt
Mm.
opportunity for things to come to you that are meant exactly for you in the space that you're in this future vision that you have, and the way that it's designed, the way that it's supposed to happen. So I had to, in a lot of instances, learn to get out of my own way. I was such
Yeah.
a process oriented thinker. This has to be like this, and this. And if it went like this, oh my gosh, what is happening? And it was like this anxiety of like, but no, 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 no. This was supposed to happen like this. Why is this happening? And then there was this meltdown of, well, let me go back and self-examine. What did I do wrong? What button did I not push? What process did I not follow? And all the while it was me.
Yeah.
What was the common
Yeah.
denominator? Trying to control or puppeteer the way that I
Yeah.
thought that it should happen.
Yeah. Control is control is a tough one. And surrender is the hardest thing that we will, hopefully all of us will learn how to do, is to truly let go and surrender and relinquish the control. Because honestly, there's not too much that we actually are in control of.
Yeah.
So that's an extremely powerful lesson. And if you're going into business ownership, you presume that you can control a lot of things, right? Because when you work for corporate America or you work for someone else, you presume that they have the control over you.
Mm-hmm.
But in business ownership, you presume that you are the one that's in control of everything. And in neither of those cases is what I said true, right? You're just never in control.
Y'all hear that? Never. So Jen, we love you, but we love
Yeah,
you
yeah.
too, but
I think the one thing that we are always in control of is our perspective.
absolutely.
Perspective. I feel like our perspective might be. I should sit down and really think about that. Like, what are we really in control of? Because I honestly think our perspective might be one of the only things we truly do have control over. Being able
Yeah,
to be in a situation and see it for what we want to see it for.
definitely a mindset. It's a mindset shift. So I'm 1000% in agreement with that. So
Yeah.
considering where we both have started and where we are now, tell us a
Hmm.
little bit more about the business. What's happening right now in Jasmine's world where you have charted this course of this life that you are creating for yourself, and also keeping it accessible and sustainable to be able to say that, I can take the world as it comes, but I have created this baby, which is my business, and I have a responsibility to do that. But I want to keep it sustainable. I want to keep it in a place where it doesn't drive me crazy. I still
Yeah.
want to live life and, enjoy all the things. So, what does that look like for you now?
Wow, there's so much there. I think for me, so one of the most important things that has recently transpired for me is releasing the goal of money. And there was a specific reason why I felt I needed to do that. When I
Mm,
started my business, of course I wanted to be in service. That was my number one objective. But
right.
I was also seeing online, on Instagram, everywhere, these 100K milestones, right?
Yeah.
100K months and multi-million dollar businesses. And that it's hard for anyone not to start tapping into that and start chasing that dream. And
Yeah.
so that was bringing me such a level of anxiety when I
Ooh,
was trying to launch something but didn't achieve it. So
yeah.
one of the biggest lessons that I've learned and what I'm leaning into now in terms of business is to be service forward and to
Ooh,
really allow myself to be inspired and motivated every single day to do the work that I do, and to hold that belief that
yeah.
everything that I need to build the business that I want to build and have the impact that I want to have is going to come through
Yeah.
that means. And
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that I don't work my tush off. That doesn't mean that I'm not strategic. That doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about cash flow, because of course that's part of building a business.
Right.
Just
Absolutely.
means that isn't that's not driving every single thing that I think about, right? Because that's how it was before. And for me, it was bringing me so much pain and anxiety to the point where I started to not love my business. And I
Oh,
started to realize that I was essentially feeling the same way in my business as I had in my career. And then it was like, did I even create a business then? Why not just go back
right.
and work for a corporate space?
Right.
So I think for me, one of the biggest things was really releasing, that releasing all of these external ideas of what my business should look like and what I should be doing and what I should be making, and truly leaning into service. And what that meant for me was digging deep as to, well, who am I? And what service do I want to provide to this world? And what value do I want to provide to this world? And for me, it's always been about I really get a high from helping women, again, even just a blip in their storyline, helping women really see who they are, like I have met so many amazing women who have so much to offer this world. And because of conditioning and external factors and society, it's
Oh
almost
yeah.
kind of like they can't see their own value. And that breaks my heart
Yeah.
on so many levels. So, the business for me has really become about me. It's also become about my life. Like, how do I want to live? I want to be in yoga clothes all the time. I want to get on a podcast episode in yoga clothes. I want to go to the beach every day. Like, so
Yes.
it's really about understanding how you want to live, not how
Yeah.
people tell you to live. And I think
Yeah.
that's the most powerful thing about starting a business is it doesn't have to look how everyone else's looks. You actually get to do it how you want to do it. That's the whole point of this.
We are reading from the same page. I say out loud, even in some of the social media reels that I create, Creative Atelier is not what I do, it's who I
Yes,
am. And
absolutely.
I am authentically Just Jess of Creative Atelier. That was strategic, but also true,
Mm-hmm.
true and authentic. I didn't build Creative Atelier because I just wanted to make money in helping businesses craft their narrative and tell their why. I wanted to stand for something that was bigger than the bottom line of the dollar. There are so many people out here that just want the help, need the advice, don't know where to start, that are just drowning for answers, drowning for resources, looking for a tribe and community and like-minded people, even if it's just to have a dialogue. It may not necessarily
Mhm.
be to start a business or to be a CEO of their own. It could be something as simple as being heard in rooms that
Yeah.
otherwise we weren't even allowed to speak in several decades
Mhm.
ago. So Creative Atelier is built to not only serve as a voice for someone's business who wants to shout from the rooftops, I'm here and this is my why, this is how I can help in a branded, cohesive way, but to also build a resource and community around people who may need other resources, who may need an ear, who may need support, who may need allyship in ways
Yeah.
to get things done. That doesn't come from uh, money. Honestly, I just feel like you're born that way. These are things that just aren't taught. A heart to serve isn't taught. It's who I am.
Yeah. And I think that we all, I tend to believe that we all are, or most of us are actually born with that, service driven heart. When you look at little kids, like they just want love. Like they just
Yeah.
want to be in love. They want to be in a
Mhm.
community. They want to be just around that goodness and so kind and gentle and beautiful. And I think society is what messes but and conditioning and all the other things. But I
Yeah.
do believe that we all, because so many of us are searching for purpose, and so many of us want to tap into our passion. It's
Yeah.
it's there. It is in that heart. Sometimes we just have to almost figure out the way to lean into it, to lean into your heart center and to really
Hmm.
listen to that place. And going back to what we mentioned earlier, to trust it. So
Yes.
the business that I created, so the Courage Crew that I'm creating now is actually what I wanted to create years ago. It's the
Wow.
exact same design, the exact same thing. And when I started my business, I workshopped this idea to a bunch of business coaches that I worked with or people, and no one understood what I was trying to create. And
Yeah.
so I listened to them, and I didn't trust myself enough to know that I have my best interest at heart. I have my own back, kind of like what you were mentioning. And
Yeah.
so I think it's really important that we recognize that you probably have that heart-centered feeling of having more purpose or of creating more service or of doing more, of listening to yourself more. And for some reason, you're just not doing it. And it's okay. Never shame yourself, never guilt
Right.
yourself, but explore that part of you a little bit more. Lean into that part of you a little bit more. When you hear the voice, ask it like to speak to you more. And
Yeah.
it will eventually start to come. We have to tap into it. We have to listen to it. And then the voice will just get louder and the direction will start to follow.
Yeah, and don't shout me down, friends. Like I don't want to take that and say from there it gets easier, because there will be hard times. But for me, in leaning into that voice, life is more manageable because I understand who I am now, and with that understanding,
Yeah.
tangible actions that I can take where I don't feel like I'm suffocating in my own existence. So
Yeah,
it's
I never tell anybody that my life is easy. My life is
yeah,
not easy.
because
Nothing
it's not.
about this is easy.
I burnt
It's
bacon
not
this
easy.
morning, y'all. It's not.
I wake up at 5 a.m. I struggle, it's hard.
Yeah.
But what I tell people is that every single day when I wake up, I am genuinely happy. And every single night when I have my head on the pillow, I know that I've lived within my integrity. And
Mm.
I didn't have that before. And to
Yeah.
me, that's worth more than anything. So
Goal.
it's not that it's easy, but you will just feel, like you said,
Mm.
more attuned with yourself. And
Yeah.
I believe that that's what this life is about. This life is about exploring and learning who you truly are
Hmm.
and continuing to explore to learn who you truly are. That's it.
Right. Right. And it's not anything that people should marvel at and be like, wow, I want that. It's like, what do you mean you want it? Like it's there. It's you. You just have to, like just
No,
quiet
no.
the outside noise.
Wanting it means it's external to you. You have it. You just have to uncover it. You just
Yes.
have to listen to it. Wanting it is like, I want Skittles. Okay, well, go get the Skittles. But wanting it is external to yourself. And actually, now I do want Skittles.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say
So
that
it's
sounds really good.
I don't even know the last time I had Skittles, but now I really freaking want Skittles.
I'm putting that on my Target run today. So, making a beeline. So Jasmine, let us know, like if you could you have your successful business, and if let us know that if you could break one business rule to make an impact, what would it be and why?
If I could break a business rule, um, there is no strategy for success.
Whew,
I,
I hear that. Say it
I
again. I don't think they heard you.
yeah, there's no strategy for success.
Okay.
I have worked with so many coaches who have taught me so many things, and what I have truly learned is that the vast majority of the answers to get started are already within you, and all you have to do is give yourself a shot. There
Yeah.
is no blueprint to success, there is no strategy to success. Truly, what it is all about is starting,
Mm,
taking your shot, and being open to the experiences that come to you and learning. And
yeah.
also being open to the people who come into your life who are meant to show you new things and who are
Yeah.
meant to put you on new paths. So, really, there is no blueprint, there is no strategy. Give
Mm.
yourself the opportunity to start, to try, and just be open,
Yeah.
and it'll all unfold for you. Again, it's not that it's going to be easy, but it
Yeah.
is going to be able to work. But follow yourself. I
Hmm.
wish that someone had told me you can create success any freaking way you want, any way
Absolutely.
you want.
And stop comparing yourself, friends. Stop
Yeah.
comparing yourself and your level of success to the next person and measuring yourself up to what you feel like it should be. Success is not always monetary. It's
Right.
not
Yeah.
always overnight. It's not always given. Okay. Nepotism, hashtag nepotism. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not always defined by these social rules and these constructs. Like today, I'm a single mother. Those who know me know that I'm a single mother of a very precocious 5-year-old whose personality is bigger than mine. So yeah, everyone's eyes are wide with that one. And I'm winning today because I got up and my socks matched when I got in carpool. That is
Oh,
success,
how? Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. There's actually a book on like winning a day is really just getting up and making your bed like right
Yeah,
away. Like you've won. You've
yeah,
already won. You made your bed. Like that's a there's a whole book on that. No,
exactly.
I 100% agree. And I think for me it's about not assuming how people achieve their success, but really like gaining knowledge, right? So,
Yeah.
for me, I compare myself to people all the time.
Mhm.
But it's always from the space of what can I learn from you. So
Exactly.
I
Not
like to
me
be in
trying to
environments.
be like
No,
you or trying
I
to
don't want to be
emulate
like,
you.
no, I want to know like what is it that you know that I need to know to get to where I need to go. So I
Yeah.
love to put myself in environments where I'm challenging myself, where I'm looking at people and saying, damn, do I want that? Is that
Yeah.
something that I want? What is that envy that's coming up for me? Is it coming up for me because I want something that they have? Well, then let me go ask
Mm.
them how they got it. Like,
Yeah.
how did you get that? Like, what did you do? Like, how did you achieve it? I
Mm.
think that what we do is we compare ourselves to someone and then somehow make it about like us not being able to have that or achieve that or something evil about them. But in
Right. Or
fact,
feelings of not being good enough or,
not
or
being
worthy
good
enough to have it.
or worthy. Yeah. If we could flip that and really just say, wow, something about that person is making me desire something that I don't have. That's activating something within me. I want
Yeah.
to explore that. I want to tap into that. Do I want that? Do I want to achieve that? And if so, can I have a conversation with that person to learn how? So, a lot of my journey very recently, of course, has been about my business, and second has been about my health and my fitness. And so a lot of the conversations that I have are about spirituality, about business, and then about fitness. And I want to be in the spaces where, because fitness is one that I'm very new to, I want to be in the spaces where I'm looking at people and I'm like, I want those abs. Tell me, what are you eating?
How's
So
you
you
doing?
have to, yeah, you have to, be inquisitive and, don't shame anybody for what they got. Like if you want it, go out and get it. It is yours. You
Yeah.
just have to be, again, open to receiving the knowledge.
And it could also look differently for you. That's the thing.
Oh,
You know,
100%.
if it doesn't happen
Yeah.
exactly the way that it happened for someone else, then oftentimes people shut down. They consider it to be a failure. And it's just like, no, I had a friend once tell me, Jess, do the thing that you do. Just do it differently. And that was such an aha moment because it
Yeah.
never occurred to me that you know what? My way isn't wrong. My way
Yeah.
isn't wrong. It just didn't happen the way that I thought it should because I still had these constructs in my mind. And I said, "Oh man, such simple words that are pieced together just
Yeah.
really opened up this Pandora's box of possibility." And now it's just like I'm gonna do a little bit of this, I'm gonna do a little bit of that, and then somehow it works. It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
works. You can't describe
Yeah.
it. It just works. I didn't go and read 1,000 books and say, okay, line item A, this is what needs to happen. Line item B, get this thing going and you'll get these results. No.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
collected pieces of myself like a treasure chest, and all the things that were good and bad and indifferent and beautiful and lovely and just grit and charm. I found a way to put that together and spit out what needed to come out of that to create something beautiful. And that is Creative Atelier. And everyone should have a piece of that. I don't care if it's dinner on a Friday night or binging Netflix in your favorite cozy socks or, starting your own business. Everyone deserves a piece of themselves. They're just like, you know what? I did that. I did that.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the most beautiful feeling to know that you've been able to accomplish something that truly is connected to your soul.
Yes, yes. Put your stank on it. It's paradise.
I love that.
Put your stank on it. Oh, Jasmine, I could go on for hours and just breathe in this space of just camaraderie and sisterhood and just all things that are just so awesome about you. And I what I want for all of my viewers and listeners and your viewers and listeners who may come across this episode of Unconventional Hustle, the number one takeaway you feel is just diehard important for people to know.
Yeah.
I know
I think the most,
there's so many to choose, but the number one thing that is just
there
undeniable.
are, when you get the calling that there is more in life for you, I just hope that you answer the call. Only, I think that when we are ready to really take our lives to a different level, when our soul is ready to do the work that it really needs to do, you get the calling for it.
Yeah,
And if you answer that call, life is just going to be full of just miraculous events for you. And
yeah,
I truly hope that if you get that feeling of there's more out there for me, I desire more, or whatever your calling really looks like, I
yeah,
hope that you answer that phone with all of your heart and soul and being. And I think that the biggest message that we've really projected is that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. That doesn't mean it's all going to, the rainbows are going to flow in front of you, but it means that you are going to find out who you truly are.
yeah.
And that is going to be such a beautiful journey for you. So if you get the call, please answer it.
Answer, y'all. Answer the phone and come and talk to me in my Jodeci voice. Come and talk to me.
Come
And
and talk to me. I love
hey,
that.
that is my old school jam. We're kindred in that. So,
Oh,
Jasmine,
I love it.
tell everyone where to find you if they just want to learn more about who you are, what you do, how they can tap into all the things that we discussed today, so they can start their own self journey. Where can they find you?
So I be on the LinkedIn streets all day, every day. That's how I think we met. So you can tap in with me on LinkedIn. I love having conversations in the DMs with people. So please shoot me a DM. I do run a free community for women who are activated and ready to kickstart their reinvented life. It's called the Courage Crew. It's a completely free community. We have a signature 30-day challenge that we run through together at the community, and the transformations in just 30 days are out of control. So
Ah,
if you want to join the community, please hit me up, and I'll also share the link for your listeners. And yeah, please reach out, because I truly, if there's a woman out there who is ready to take this leap, and I can be the person who helps them do that, I mean, that's really what I want my life to be about. So please reach out, join the community, and yeah, let's hook up.
yes, there it is. And for anyone in our resource talk here in Grand Central Station of all things great in this dialogue, who just really has that business and they took that first step and they need help with crafting their why and telling their narrative and their story in a way that is truly themselves and authentic to who you are. And you want it branded in a way that just smacks everyone in the face to say, yes, she did that. Please find me at ca.madebyjess on everything, LinkedIn, IG, and Facebook.
Love it.
All the links and details and information and key takeaways will be dropped in the chat for comments, likes, and shares. It has been my honor. I'm still over here like to sit down and have this dialogue with you today, Jasmine, and friends. I think I'm going to turn this into a series. I think we're just going to keep this energy going of unconventional
Yeah,
hustle to just continue to speak life into people, into businesses, into practices to make sure that we are making the impact that matters. All right,
yeah, I
guys, we
love that.
are wrapping up. We're going to have a little post off screen chat and welcome to the waiting room. Peace and blessings. Just Jess of Creative Atelier out. Oh, child, that is a wrap, and I'm tired, y'all. We laid it down and gave you the deets and the truth on what it means to reinvent yourself. If you're vibing with the convo in the video, please drop your comments, your questions below, and don't forget to subscribe, love, like, and share. If you want immediate access to me in helping you design your vision, your brand, craft that narrative to get you going, follow me at ca.madebyjess on everything. If you're looking for Jasmine Escalera to join the Courage Crew for your free resource guide to all things reinvention, you can click the link below. Thank you for coming out and showing me some love. I feel it. Just Jess of Creative Atelier out.